Okay, so I was going to write a blog post about this, and then I realised that I don't really have the time. So I thought I would just run through this really quickly. Video seemed like the best place to do it. So basically, I've been talking to a lot of my clients. I've had discovery calls and primary interviews and just general meetings, really, where they're discussing with me how difficult it is to find a content writer, which I find ridiculous, because as a writer who, is in this competitive industry, there's a lot of us and we're all trying to find clients. So you'd think that we'd be able to merge somewhere in the middle and we'd all be able to match up and find each other, but that doesn't appear to be the case. But then I have been noticing that there's been quite a few mistakes that like businesses and brands are making when they're trying to find a writer. So I thought I'd go through the three main ones that I've encountered, and hopefully this may help you and guide you to get the kind of writer that you want. So the first one is that you don't actually understand what you want. It's okay not to know how to say something. That's my job. I'm there to try and phrase it in the best possible way and make it sellable. But at the end of the day, I need a message to convey to people. I need to know what you're trying to say, and I need it to benefit you long term. There's no point in me writing a fluff piece to engage your customers if they don't know how to engage with you. You need to come up with exactly the message that you're trying to get across, and then let me know, or your content writer know, and then they can put that in the best possible way. So I think that's the first point. The second point is, don't assume I don't need to know your backstory. Even if I'm subcontracting for you, even if you've hired someone for the first time, as much information that you can give them about your company, your brand, your ethos, everything, that all helps to weave into the story of how you might approach your target audience or how you might approach your demographic. That's what we do behind the scenes, is try and sort of use that information to try and say things in the best possible way that suits you personally. So knowing your backstory really helps. If you're a small business and you struggle to work your way up, you're gonna speak to people in a different way. There's no, I can write for anyone, but what makes you different from your competitors is your backstory. So the more I know about that, the better. So that's point number two. Number three is, you're too focused on price. This is a bit of a double-edged sword, really, because obviously you get what you pay for, and sometimes the budget just doesn't stretch. That's just the reality of things. But it's more about the rigidity. If you're not flexible, then you're generally going to find the types of people who are just going to put as many words in as possible to meet that word count, and they're done. They technically fulfilled the criteria that you've set. So you're better off paying per word, really, or looking at it from a project perspective, but having a little bit of flexibility that you discuss beforehand, so that if things go over for the sake of content, that's fine. If things go under for the sake of content, that doesn't mean necessarily that what's being said isn't valuable. But if you're constantly trying to meet word count expectations or price expectations, and you've got no flexibility in that, that could be hindering. You may find that some of the higher quality writers who may have reasonable prices, don't want to work with you, because at the end of the day, they're not there to meet your quota. They're there to sell things in the best possible way. So those are the three things, really. Is one, you don't understand your own message. Two, you assume that we don't need to know your backstory. And three, you're too focused on price. So yeah, hopefully this has been helpful, and I shall speak to you all soon.